Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Cosmic Blessons podcast. And in this episode, I wanted to share the story of my solo trip to Seattle. It was a journey that almost didn't happen, but it turned out to be one of the most magical and expansive experiences of my life. It started with delayed flights and getting lost downtown and witnessing one of my best friends' wedding in the most magical setting. And this trip really helped me realize how resilient I am, how supported I am, and how saying yes just opens these doors to the most unexpected blessings. And if you have ever doubted yourself or wondered if it was worth going after that trip, the dream, or the desire, this story is for you. So, in January of this year, I got a save the date from one of my dear friends from high school who was getting married in Washington. Him and his partner moved to Washington the year before from Austin, and while I did not know how I was going to make it happen, I just knew that I wanted to be there for this moment for my friend. And so I RSVP'd saying, yes, I was going to go without really knowing how that was going to happen. And I also booked an Airbnb. That was the only thing that I could afford at the time. And I just found a place that was really cute. It was this fun little farmhouse situation. Oh my gosh. I'll talk more about that when I get to that point. But anyways, a few months pass and I am tracking the flights, and I just keep getting these notifications that the prices are going up. And I'm just like, okay, I got to book this soon, but I just don't have the funds right now. And earlier this year, I ended up releasing my Astral Expansion Challenge. And after I did that and the Cosmic Blessons, when I released this podcast, I just like had a random bank account deposit. And it was not like I got paid for those particular things. This just so happened to happen at the same time, which I feel like is an energetic thing. I was just in the place to be able to receive money. I was in that frequency of abundance and like receiving, and boom, a random deposit of a couple $100 went into my bank account. And I was scrolling through Instagram one day, and I had a friend who was traveling at the time, Tisha Marie Kane. She's amazing. She was in Japan at the time. And so I was like looking at her stories and the things that she was posting. I was like, oh my God, that's so cool that she gets to go to Japan. And it looked like such a fun experience. And she had a bunch of interviews that she had done. So on her social media, she also had some of those interviews that were playing while she was traveling. And so it was so funny, the timing of it. In this particular interview, she was talking about the trip that she was currently on. And she was saying to just book the ticket already. You don't have to have it all figured out. Just book the ticket. And so that really resonated with me. And I was like, oh, that's what that extra money was for. That's what the deposit was for. It's for me to make this trip happen. So I go ahead and I book the flight, and lo and behold, it was pretty much the exact amount that it cost me to book that flight. So that was just a sign. Okay, yeah, I'm supposed to be going onto this trip. Okay, wonderful. So anyways, I booked that flight. I was excited to go, and I went on a trip to the beach with my family. I had another episode where I talked about this, and my dog had to have surgery, and it cost $10,000, and it was a whole thing. So, part of me was feeling some guilt about like going on this trip and everything, but it was just like, you know what? No, I feel like I still need to go, and I can't change what has already happened, So anyways, it's time for the trip. I end up going on this trip the week after we get back from the beach, by the way. That's why that was like so fresh in my mind at the moment. And so we go to Austin. I live almost an hour away from Austin, and that's where I'm flying out. So my husband's taking me, and it's an early flight, and he ends up taking the wrong exit. And so we end up running a little bit late, and I'm kind of freaking out because I've never flown out of this airport before. I didn't know how busy it was going to be, and I really just didn't want to miss out on this trip, So also at this time, we happened to be in a Mercury retrograde. So I was like, oh no, like I want to make sure I'm giving extra time because you never know what's going to happen, And so I get there, I'm running to my gate, and it turns out that I didn't even need to rush because there was a 3-hour delay. There was an IT outage with Alaska Airlines, and they ended up canceling a flight. Like they pushed ours back. They canceled the one that was supposed to happen right after ours. But I'm like, okay, that's fine. I can chill for a little bit. This particular day they were having their rehearsal, and I figured, I gave myself enough time to be able to stop at my Airbnb and then go to the rehearsal dinner. So I was like, okay, that's fine. I'll just go straight from the airport to there, I guess. But anyways, that's why I booked this flight so early, just to kind of help put a little cushion there. So anyways, I end up getting onto the flight and I make it to Seattle. And first of all, as soon as I got off the plane, I just felt so different. Like, I just felt like, wow, it's okay here. And like, I just like saw the queer people and the weirdos and the people with the fun colored hair. And I just felt like I could kind of breathe a sigh of relief. Like, I don't know, like I just felt a little more relaxed, and in a way that I don't know how to explain, and I'm still trying to unpack that. But anyways, I get to the airport in Seattle, and there are all of these parts that are under construction. So I'm trying to navigate my way around it, and I take this way that I think that I'm supposed to go, and it's not the right way. And so I'm just like following these signs for these detours of where I'm supposed to go. And, finally I get it figured out. And so I'm just going out to where the buses and the shuttles are, and I'm looking for the place that does the rental cars. So I'm going back and forth, and like for 20 minutes, I'm like trying to figure out, looking for the one that's going to take me to the car rental place. And I'm like, I think these are all the hotel ones. And so I look across, like I happened to look across, and then there was a different area where there were more shuttles, and that's the place I had to go. So of course everything was under construction, so it was like extra hard to figure out. I had to go back and forth. Anyways, I end up finding the shuttle place. The shuttle buses, I should say. And so this is like an hour already since I've landed. I'm like, okay, am I ever going to freaking find this place? But anyways, as I get on the bus and we're driving to the rental place, I am just in awe of how green and luscious and beautiful the scenery is over there. The air just felt so nice and crisp, and like just so many shades of green. Oh, it was so, so beautiful. So anyways, I go to the rental thing, and the price that they gave me online versus like the price that I actually paid was pretty much double what I was expecting. And I'm like, oh, okay, because of all of the extra fees and stuff. But anyways, I'm just like, dude, okay, yeah, sure, whatever, let's go. I'm just ready to freaking go. And it's been a long day already, and so I'm like, I'm just ready to go to this place and settle in my Airbnb. And so I finally get the rental car, and I'm about to take off, and I put in the GPS, and I realize the place that I'm going is actually 88 miles north of where I'm supposed to be. I don't know how. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know. I think there was 2 airports, and maybe I was like supposed to fly to the other one, and I don't know. It doesn't matter. Anyways, I am like, okay, I'm driving. It's going to take me 3 hours. It took me 3 hours to go that 88 miles, by the way. There was all sorts of construction happening. The roads in Seattle are so different than in Texas. And so like I didn't catch the freeway, and I thought, okay, that's fine. I'll just do a U-turn and I'll get back on. But no, there was none of that. They don't do that there. That's not how their roads are over there. So I ended up getting myself lost, and I ended up driving through downtown, and it was like this, that like I was kind of like, I don't drive in the city as much anymore, but I was just like simultaneously like Oh, wow. And like in awe of everything, and everything's so beautiful and cool. And like I love it. But I'm also like freaking out because I hate driving downtown. And like I don't know where I'm going. I'm confused by these roads, and I freaking go the wrong way on a one way street too. Ugh, like yeah, I'm definitely not a city gal anymore. Like I am from Houston originally, but it's been a minute and I never loved driving downtown anyways. So I'm just so grateful. Like I didn't get into an accident. Like I was definitely being watched. I have my angels, my guides. I was very protected. So, anyways, I am driving and it's just stop and go and stop and go. I finally make it on the freeway and I don't think I can go more than 10 minutes without having to slow down. I end up going by 3 different car accidents and 2 different fires. But eventually, after 3 hours, I make it to the venue where they're having the rehearsal dinner. And I'm like low key, like stressed out. Like my nervous system is not regulated. I'm just like, oh my God, I just made it here. And I walk in and I see Dutch and I just give him a hug and I'm like in tears. I'm just so glad. I'm like, I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe you're here. I can't believe this is real. I was just like so stressed from the driving, but then I was also like, it's so funny because I was also at peace and like super grounded. Like, I don't know, maybe it was because the nature and the scenery just like calmed me in a way. It's just, anyways, I still have a hard time explaining it. Like maybe it's something about Seattle itself that feels like homey and cozy to me. Something about it feels familiar. But anyways, yeah, so I end up being late to the rehearsal dinner. By the way, I'm late by like 45 minutes and I'm like, is anyone even going to still be here? But yes, they were there. The venue was beautiful. Gave me food. The venue was overlooking the ocean and it was just so stunning. And oh my gosh, I was just so grateful to be able to hug my friend, to see him, and just to have made it because I really felt like it was such a journey just to even get there. And, I went straight from the airport to the venue. And so I didn't even have a chance to like unpack or like change or anything. So, anyways, it was just like I was simultaneously stressed out, but also feeling like very okay. And then just like so in awe of how beautiful this place was. And the food there was great. All of the people there were wonderful. And, just being around, like, it was a gay wedding, like just to see queer joy and love in this place and all of these people who were part of this, who got to witness this all happening. It was just very wonderful to be in that place. But anyways, so at the rehearsal dinner, I'm like, okay, I gotta go because there's already a 2-hour difference between like where we are versus the time zone difference back home. So yeah, it was like I think it was like 8 o'clock. I was like, I gotta go because it's already 10 o'clock, which is past my bedtime. And I'd been up since 5 o'clock my time too, to make it to the airport. So anyways, I'm driving and the scenery is just so beautiful. The mountains, the greenery, the sun was setting and it was just so beautiful. And I see this rainbow peeking behind the clouds. And so I'm looking at the sun and there's parts where you can see the rain just like sitting on different parts of the mountains and the sun is there and these rays are just hitting and the rainbow. And oh my gosh, I don't even have the words for like how many shades of green and how huge these trees were. It just was so beautiful. I can't say that enough. So anyways, I get to my Airbnb and there's the rainbow right there. As I pull up, I can see it on the horizon and I'm at this little farm. And so it's like this little house and they have a little garden. They have a farm with goats and chickens, ducks and turkeys. And like I said, they had a garden. There were these raspberries that were growing that were fresh. And the owner was like, oh, please help yourself to these and the blueberries. And ooh, they were so good. Like I don't even like raspberries like that, but something about just being able to pick them up, and just have them fresh, they just tasted so amazing. So I just relaxed and I enjoyed my evening. And And so I slept in, and I didn't sleep in because I had to go the next morning. But I got up, and when I looked outside, just the way that the fog was rolling over the mountaintops just was so unreal. I'm like, dude, this is a Bob Ross painting. It felt like a movie. It was just so stunning. And I went to a little place. I grabbed like a breakfast burrito and a coffee, and I was just sitting outside in the garden and watching the sun. And there were these deer that were just eating the raspberries. There were kitty cats on the farm. There was a chicken that was coming up to me, and I was like throwing him the different fruits and stuff. It was a whole vibe. I was just like, I was just feeling it. It was amazing. And so then after I eat, I get ready and I head up to the place that they have the wedding ceremony, which also happens to be on a farm. There's a lot of farms up in that area, lots of goats, that kind of thing. But anyways, I went to this farm that they're having the ceremony at, and it was just this really small, intimate ceremony. They had a band. Well, they had two people. They had someone who was playing a guitar and a violin, or a banjo, I should say. And it was like this Irish folk type music, and it was just so sweet. And I cried so much. Oh my gosh, like that whole month I cried so much. But this was like crying in a great way. Like I was so overwhelmed by how sweet and beautiful and touching this whole ceremony was. And then we went to the reception afterward, and the food was amazing. And I was just so grateful to be in this place. I danced so much. I don't even drink anymore, and I didn't care. And there were so many other people who were just willing to dance, and it was so fun. And I had such a good time. And like I said, just being able to witness queer love and joy and be around all of the other people who are all about that, and supporting this couple, it's just, and it was just so nice. It was just so wonderful. Just being part of that and being able to witness this was so wonderful and touching. And I'm just so grateful that I got to be able to go to this wedding for my friend. I've known him since high school. I've seen him go through many different relationships, and for him to have this, I just, was like, yes, this is what you deserve. This is the absolute, like, the wonderful, loving relationship that you were always meant to have. And it was such a beautiful day, and I was just so touched to be part of it. I cried so much again. I cried so much. After the ceremony, we went to the reception, which was held in a different place, and they had this park and the venue and the dancing and all that stuff. Sorry, I mixed that part of the story up, but the catering was delicious. I became friends with the people that I was sitting next to, and like I started talking about my job, and she ended up like buying some stuff from the company, and I was like, okay, cool, like you're my kind of people. And like I said, danced, queer people with fun colored hair, piercings, they're just people who are so themselves, and they don't really care. And I'm just like, man, I really miss being around this kind of diversity. And it was more common for me to be around that when I was doing Derby, but not so much anymore. So anyways, just so magical and awesome and great, and so grateful that I got to be part of that. And afterwards, we actually went back to their place, and I went back to my Airbnb and changed first, and then I went over, and I was just like, dude, I cannot believe you live here. This place is so unreal, and it is so cute. And the temperature the lows were in the 50s and the highs were in the 70s. And this was in July. And I'm like, dude, this is crazy. Like, is this real life? And so I was able to catch up with my friend and talk to his husband, and I got to get to know him a little bit more, and just, I adore him. And like, I'm just so happy for the both of them. And I really feel like I need to go visit them because it was such an amazing time. And there is something about being in Seattle that just felt so right. I don't know how to explain it. But anyways, I end up staying for a little bit, and I told them, hey, I gotta go. It's past my bedtime, and I have a flight in the morning. So I head back to my Airbnb, and my heart was just so full, and I'm just so grateful to be able to witness this beautiful event for my friend. And then the next morning, it took me 2.5 hours to get to the airport, which is a little bit better. But anyways, I was just trying to take in as much of the scenery as possible as I was driving back. There was a point where it was so foggy, like super thick. It was like I could not see like 50 feet ahead of me. It was just so thick, and then it just cleared up, like the sun was shining and then everything was fine. Like this is the weirdest. Being from Texas, I'm just like, what? I don't know what's happening. Yeah, so I get there and I'm waiting for my flight, and this last little part, I end up sitting next to this really cute girl. She, like, to me, when I saw her, I was like, she looks like a flower, like in human form. She was wearing like this really light baby pink top, and it like went down her shoulders, and she had this cute ruffly skirt and these leg warmers with these chunky sneakers, and she had this hair tie that had like little tulips hanging off of it, and she was playing Animal Crossing, and she was the cutest thing. Like, she was so cute, but I was so exhausted that I just like, I couldn't even like manage having a conversation. I told her that I thought that she was so cute, and I thought that she reminded me of Flower, and then I immediately like passed out in my seat and like took a nap, and then I think I watched like the rest of Wicked. So yeah, I think that's what I did. And then I get back home. It's 97 degrees outside. And yeah, I'm like, yep, back in Texas. But it's really got me thinking about like living in Texas in general, how hot it is, how uncomfortable it is. I don't quite feel quite myself when I'm here. There's a different kind of aliveness that I felt when I was in Seattle. And it's just really kind of like shaken me in this way that I hadn't thought of before. And it's just another expansive experience that I'm grateful that I said yes to do this, that I had the radical courage to be like, I'm going on this trip and I don't care how it's going to happen. And things unfolded in ways that I did not expect. And I'm grateful that I did it. So I really am grateful for all of it, that I was able to go onto this trip by myself, you know, like it just made the whole trip just felt like, because it was such a journey, how it was not easy to even get there. Like it just made me appreciate it so much more. It just made me realize how resilient I am doing this solo trip in the first place. You know, managing to do the rental car thing, drive, go back and forth, navigating a new place, and things of that nature. So and then I got to see my best friend, one of my best friends, get married. And that's, I think, you know, just the cherry on top of all of it. So anyways, that is all about my trip to Seattle that I almost did not go on to. And yeah, I really hope that you end up experiencing things in ways that you could not have planned, because sometimes life is like that. Anyways, that's all for today, and I'll talk to y'all in the next one. Okay, bye.